In this video, we're going to explore the part of our personality that when it's behaving in this particular mode, it gives in to whatever the external or internal narrative just happens to be. The behaviour patterns can be linked to things like people-pleasing and self-sacrificing, and it can even lead us into a space of significant depression. So today, let's have a conversation about the mode of behaviour that we call compliant surrender. When the compliant surrender mode is active within our personality system, we usually find ourselves either accepting the messages that we see in the world around us as fact, or we're buying into the narrative being put forward by our own internal critics as completely accurate without the ability to see these stories in any other way. For example, if my own internal critics are telling me that I'm defective and I should feel ashamed, I believe this to be true and begin to behave accordingly, trying to desperately avoid the emotional experiences attached to these debilitating messages. When we're blended with the parts that behave this way, we never really take on difficult challenges because we comply with the message that we will fail, and we work really hard to make sure we're not exposed to those around us as being incompetent or defective in any way. On the other side, dialectically speaking, when compliant to the messages we receive externally, we give in to what the people around us want us to do. We submit to their desires and do everything that they say, giving into their subjective narrative over our own thoughts, feelings, wants and needs. This is usually done to keep the peace in some way, or to avoid an emotional experience that's created by the possibility of rejection or abandonment if we speak up for what it is that we want. When practiced externally with others, the compliant surrender mode is often labelled as people-pleasing or enabling behaviour. Now, when we surrender to the negative internal narrative, it's common for this to lead to a life of sadness and loneliness and even depression, depending on the story our internal critics are putting out there within our own thoughts. People-pleasing is often referenced as a behaviour pattern that comes to the forefront when building a recovery lifestyle. In schema therapy, this is identified as the part of our personality that follows the behaviour of compliant surrender. For me, compliant surrender in relation to the external world meant that I gave in to what the people around me wanted me to do, whatever their desires were. I did everything that they wanted me to do, usually at the expense of my own thoughts and feelings, to avoid the possibility of rejection or abandonment in whatever way I possibly could. This behaviour pattern allowed me to avoid confrontation in relationships and build a mirage of popularity that provided respite from my own faltering self-esteem. However, over time, this maladaptive way of dealing with my own internal vulnerable child's fear of rejection and the loneliness that's associated with that caused a resentment to build that would manifest in angry outbursts of rage and verbal abuse. For me, my compliant surrender mode would often show up when my schema of self-sacrifice was activated in my system and my own internal critics were telling me that I had to fix the other person's problem. Man, John's situation is really messed up. He's gotta be struggling with the way things are going. It's also gotta be really difficult when you just don't have the money to get things done. I feel really bad for him. I feel like, maybe there's something I should be doing. Simple. You should just give John the money. It doesn't matter about your rent or the other stuff that you need to get. John needs the money more than you. He's your friend. It's what you're supposed to do. So just give it to him. Go on, give it to him right now. Yeah, you know what? I can pay my rent another time and I don't need to get groceries this week. I can get by with what I have. It'll be okay. I'll just give the money to John, even though he hasn't really asked for it. And I'm not sure if he even needs it, but I'm just going to step in, give it to him, and I'm sure that he's going to appreciate that. Absolutely, 100%. Constantly spending my time meeting the needs of others left me with a strengthened sense of disconnection and loneliness. My schema of social isolation would dominate my system, and my internal critics were constantly reminding me of the fact that nobody really understood me or ever actually listened to me, and at times even saw me. Alright, so I fixed that problem, and John is super happy now. He hasn't been in touch since then though. I wonder why he hasn't called or even bothered to send any kind of text message or anything at all.
Oh, here we go again, another one of those situations where you're trying to fit in with people that you just don't belong with. When are you going to get it through your thick skull that you don't belong?
You know what? That's right. We don't belong anywhere. Nobody gets us. Nobody understands us. We simply just don't fit in. There's no point in even trying to fit in. It's just not worth it. You might as well just give up. Yeah. You know what? I really don't belong. At all. No matter how much I do for them, people just don't want to hang out with me. I don't even think I belong anywhere. I just simply don't fit in at all with anyone. Why do I even bother? Sometimes my compliance surrender mode would show up based on what other people were telling me to do, regardless of whether I agreed with their requests. Usually because there was a part of me that was afraid of the sadness, loneliness, guilt and shame that was connected to the rejection if I actually spoke up for what I wanted. Hey man, you want to go out for lunch today? Yeah, sounds like a great plan. What were you thinking? You pick. I'm really not that bothered. It's entirely up to you. Oh, I really want a burrito. But I don't know whether he likes that type of food. And if I say it and he doesn't like it, he's going to say no. And he's going to want to go for lunch with someone else. Don't tell him. Ask him what he wants. I don't really care, man. Whatever you want to do, I'll leave the ball completely in your court. It's your choice. You sure? Okay. There's a really great soup place over on Main. Yeah, I wanted to go there for a while, so let's go there then. I really don't want soup. Soup is so boring. I wanted a burrito, but I can't say no now because he wants soup. We have to go. Awesome. Yeah, let's go. Great.
A few moments later.
Some kind that I could probably try and help him with, but when you really just don't want to do anything, what? Oh, this is such bullshit. You never do anything I want to do. You always do what he wants to do. I really hate Soup. He doesn't care about me and what I want at all. We only ever do what he wants to do. Typical. What do you think? The guilt and shame that was associated with this sense of loneliness was the hardest thing for me to deal with in the early part of my own recovery journey. The temptation to escape was strong, and I struggled with the desire to run away from everything that I was expected to do. My inner angry child would fight for dominance in my system with my state of compliant surrender. From anger to surrender, back and forth, dictated by what schema was dominating my beliefs at that particular time. Awareness for my stories and the parts of my personality that were activated in an attempt to navigate the beliefs that were associated with their hold on me was the only way I found to take the steps towards creating, living the life I wanted to live, not staying stuck in the life that I was used to being stuck in. Working with the compliance surrender mode starts with awareness. Using the DBT skills of mindfulness and the schema therapy tool we call mode journaling helps to build our ability to recognize its presence within our personality system. Planning ahead to build mastery is how we prepare our parts for what's to come. Spending time with the emotional experience that's connected to the activation of the compliance surrender mode, using compassion and curiosity to explore its story, can actually help us to appreciate why it does what it does. Once we have this newfound appreciation for its purpose in our system, we can use the Raven exercise to remove the rigidity that's connected to the behavioural response. And in the PDF at the bottom of the website page that's connected to this video, you're going to find a worksheet that's designed to help you figure out what the compliance surrender mode might look like when it's activated within your own personality system. If you can, take some time to download it, print it out, and work through the questions and exercises contained within it slowly. Allow yourself to mindfully connect with times in the past that you may have experienced your own version of the compliance surrender mode. Keep in mind that this will be an extremely difficult thing to do, as the emotional experience of the part that's using this mode of behaviour can send our system into a state of fight or flight. And guys, if you like the content of this video, please subscribe to the channel, smash that like button and turn on the notifications to get all the latest from me and the Liberation Place. If you'd like to know more, come join the live online meetings that I facilitate for free each week on Zoom. You'll find a link to the page containing more information about those groups in the description below. I hope this video gave you some insight for the possibility of a compliance surrender mode existing within your own personality system. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Take care, be safe, and be well.